Welcome to this explainer. I want to jump right into a feeling that I think a lot of us know all too well. Picture this. You're surrounded by people. There's conversation, laughter, activity everywhere. You are right in the thick of it, and yet you feel completely, inexplicably alone. Today we're unpacking what we call the architecture of emotional loneliness. It's this profound sense of disconnection that hits you not when you're physically by yourself, but when you're surrounded by others. You are at the party, and something in your chest feels hollow? It's like you're sitting right there at the dinner table or you're active in the group chat, but there's this heaviness. It feels like you're watching everyone else through a thick pane of glass, right? You see them connecting, you hear the words, but the warmth of the interaction just doesn't reach you.
Section 1. Hiding in full rooms. The misunderstood feeling.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the way we usually think about being alone. If you've ever felt that sudden, heavy drop in your chest, please know it isn't a character flaw. We traditionally think loneliness is just physical isolation, The empty apartment, silent nights, literally no one to call. And sure, that's a very real version of it, but the loneliness we really don't talk about enough, it hides in full rooms. You can have hundreds of contacts in your phone and still feel like an absolute stranger in your own life. So, psychologists define emotional loneliness like this. It's the absence of feeling truly known, seen, or understood by the people around you. I really want that to sink in for a second. Because it means you can be someone's partner, you can be someone's best friend, literally someone's absolute favorite person in the world, and still feel profoundly alone. Proximity just doesn't equal intimacy.
Which brings us to the very core of this whole issue. We are not lonely for people. We are lonely for depth. The research absolutely backs this up too. Studies consistently show that when it comes to human connection, quality matters way, way more than quantity. A person with just 2 deeply intimate friendships, where they are truly seen, is going to report significantly lower levels of loneliness than someone with 20 surface-level friends.
Section 2. The epidemic of disconnection. A global crisis. Okay, let's dive into this.
This isn't just an individual struggle, guys. It's a systemic crisis. The U.S. Surgeon General and the World Health Organization have actually declared loneliness a global public health priority. And it's not just older adults living in rural isolation either. Gen Z currently reports the highest loneliness levels of any generation. Think about that for a second. The most connected generation in human history is also the most lonely. They have instant access to everyone all the time, and yet the isolation is peaking.
So why is this happening? Well, our modern tools give us the aesthetic of closeness without the actual substance. Basically, we're performing connection instead of creating it. We're posting curated updates instead of sharing our actual messy lives. We react with a heart emoji instead of taking the time to actually respond. We follow people instead of getting to know them. The screen creates this illusion of a relationship, but our brains know it isn't quite real.
Section 3. The biological toll. What loneliness does to your body.
So the crucial point is that emotional loneliness isn't just a sad thought. It's a visceral, physical experience. Your nervous system registers social disconnection using the exact same neural pathways as physical pain. It triggers massive spikes in cortisol, our primary stress hormone. Because of this, chronic loneliness is actually, according to some research measures, as damaging to your long-term health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Literally. Social connection isn't a luxury. It's a biological imperative.
Your brain is quite literally wired for belonging. Evolutionarily speaking, being separated from the tribe meant danger. So when your brain doesn't get real belonging, and I mean genuine belonging, not just physical proximity to others, it shifts your body into this low-grade state of alert. Your sleep suffers, your concentration breaks down, your immune system weakens. Loneliness is not a weakness. It is your biology screaming that something essential for your survival is missing.
Section 4. Why busy doesn't fix it. The vulnerability gap.
When people feel this biological alarm bell ringing, their very first instinct is usually to get busy, right? More plans, more dinners. But you can pack your weekend and still feel hollow on Sunday night. And this brilliantly illustrates why. The solution to emotional loneliness isn't more contact, it's more vulnerability. More contact just keeps things on the surface. Vulnerability means saying something real, showing your unfinished parts, and trusting you won't be rejected. And let's be honest, vulnerability is the exact thing most of us have been completely conditioned to avoid.
Especially for people who've been hurt before. Maybe you were dismissed or abandoned or called too sensitive. Trusting someone with your vulnerable side is terrifying. So what do? You adapt. You stay on the surface. You keep things incredibly light. And this creates what we call the high-functioning lonely person. They're the funniest person in the room, the most capable person in the meeting, the most flawlessly put-together person at the table. Nobody checks on them because their performance of being fine is just so convincing. And they go home exhausted and empty. I really want to let the weight of that settle for a moment. The sheer energy it takes to maintain that high-functioning, perfect facade all day long is astronomical. You leave the party having entertained everyone, but having connected with absolutely no one.
Section 5. The courage to be seen. What genuine connection actually requires. Let's move to and see how this builds our way out.
So, what does genuine connection actually require if just being busy doesn't work? Well, it's not about curating the exact right group of people around you. It's about allowing yourself to be known by the people who are already there. And it takes some uncomfortable steps. First, you have to show up honestly and drop the mask. Second, when someone asks how you are, you need the courage to actually say, I am actually not okay. Third, you must let someone sit with you in that discomfort instead of rushing to perform or fix it. And finally, you have to be deeply curious about someone else's interior world. Stay in the conversation even when it stops being light.
I want to speak directly to you right now. If you relate to craving this kind of depth, please hear this. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are not needy just for wanting a connection that feels real. That loneliness you feel in a full room, it's simply an internal compass telling you something important, that you are still holding yourself at a distance. The people who are actually worth having in your life want the real version of you, not the highly edited performing one.
Which brings us to our final, lingering thought. Being seen is terrifying, but being invisible to everyone who knows you, that is so much worse. Dropping the armor is scary, I know it is, but living your entire life hidden in plain sight is a tragedy. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Who in your life are you finally going to let see the real you today?